The second witness of the day is the Broward County Medical Examiner, Rebecca McDougall. She performed the autopsy on this young man, 14-year-old Alex Schacter. Let's go back into the courtroom.
Autopsy on a young man named Alex Schacter.
I did.
Okay. I'd like to show you now, ma'am, state exhibits 17T, 17S, 17R, 17Q, 17P, 17O, 17N, 17M, 17L, and this was already in that. So with those exhibits, Dr. McDougall, do you recognize what those photographs are?
I do.
And were they taken during the course of your autopsy of Alex Schacter on Thursday, February the 15th, 2018?
They were.
Okay. And would they assist you in explaining to the court and to the jury the nature of Alex Schacter's wounds?
They would.
And would they assist you in describing the manner and cause of death?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Your Honor, at this time, I'd like to offer these exhibits.
Is there any objection?
I just need to review them quickly if I may.
Sure.
Sure.
You want your chair, Laura? Thank you.
May I approach?
Sure. You may?
After the court reviews them, we could get a sidebar briefly. I appreciate
Okay,
it.
thank you.
ma'am.
All right, they're going to a sidebar. The defense wants to discuss these photos, the autopsy photos. Still with us, criminal defense attorney Jesse Lull in Atlanta, joining our conversation. Lauren Stuckert in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Jesse, that is so heartbreaking to watch. We don't see the photos, but we see the family.
You could see the father, and he looks just like the little one. It's so heartbreaking, and they are preparing themselves. They're steeling themselves for the testimony, the graphic nature of how their son was brutally killed. It tears me up just looking at the dad.
Yep, jury obviously watching that. They have a very clear view of the gallery. Let's go back in. The sidebar broke it up.
17M, like Mary, will be received as 357. 17N, like Nancy, 358. 17O, 359. 17P, 360. 17Q, 361. 17R, 362. 17S, 363. And 17T, like Tom, 364.
Thank you, Your Honor. Dr. McDougall, while the clerk is marking the evidence, could you give us the age, height, and weight of Alex Schacter, please?
I can. He's 14 years old, 105 pounds, and 65 inches in length.
Okay. And State's Exhibit 200? Is this Alex Schacter you performed the autopsy on?
Yes.
Oh. Thanks. Doctor, I want to show you now State's Exhibit marked 356. Can you see that okay?
I can.
Okay. You have one wound labeled A and one B. Could you describe, let's start with A, obviously. Could you describe that to us?
I can. So gunshot wound A is a penetrating gunshot wound to the right side of the chest. It injures the upper lobe of the right lung, and the spinal cord is transected. There's 600 milliliters of blood in the right side of the chest, and the 7th thoracic vertebrae is also fractured.
Okay. Would that wound A in and of itself be fatal?
Yes.
And would Mr. Alex Schacter be able to move, because you said it transected his spine?
Correct. It transects his spinal cord.
Okay.
At the level of the 7th thoracic vertebrae.
And what does that mean?
So he can't move from that level down.
Okay. And gunshot wound B?
So gunshot wound B is also a penetrating gunshot wound. It enters the left side of the chest. It injures skin, soft tissue, and muscle.
Okay.
And there's a contusion on the upper lobe of the left lung.
Okay. Would wound B be fatal in and of itself?
Can be.
Okay. Based on the wound A and B, Dr. McDougall, would those two wounds be consistent with someone standing, or Alex Schacter standing?
Yes,
And why do you say that?
because they go from front to back and downward.
Okay. And I show you now State's Exhibit marked 357. And
So this is the projectile fragment that's recovered from the right side of the upper back.
okay, and that's as a result of which wound?
A.
Okay, and that's why you have the A there, showing that that's the exit wound, and
That's correct.
okay. Showing you now State's Exhibit marked 358.
So this is a cluster of ballistic injuries on the upper left shoulder that I labeled C.
Okay. And obviously not fatal, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And State's Exhibit 359.
So I can't see the letter. So D, E, and F are on the forearm.
I'm
Thank
sorry.
you. That's okay.
It's
So this is a cluster of ballistic injuries that I labeled E. These are on the forearm of the left upper extremity.
Okay. And State's Exhibit 360.
This is another picture of the ballistic injuries to include the injury on his hand.
And State's Exhibit 3.
Can we have a brief sidebar, please? Sure, thank you.
Another sidebar, the defense wanting an interruption here as Dr. Rebecca McDougall goes through the injuries sustained to Alex Schacter as a result of the defendant opening fire at his former high school back in 2018. Very emotional testimony this morning, especially for the parents of Alex Schacter. In the gallery, quick break here. We'll get you back in the court after this.